Hi, my name is Terry Lee from Sweet Pea Papers, and this is video 3 in our series Once Upon a Time. We're making a mini photo album, something I've never done before. Well, I'm working on one right now, and that tutorial is giving me inspiration to try one on my own. I know, silly me. But a friend of mine once told me to film everything, and so I am, and if it doesn't work out, then you won't be seeing I can't even talk. You won't be seeing this series anytime soon. So now, so far we've done page 1, and then we've got it all covered and everything. So what you're going to do is you're going to flip it over, making sure that you mark the top. Holes are on the sides. Check the top against the top on the other side. Okay, now remember, if you are a member of Sweet Pea Papers, you get a PDF with all of the projects. Now, this project is going to be a little bit different. As I release an episode or a segment of the tutorial, I'm going to release an updated PDF that's going to be current all the way up through the page that I'm showing. Because for this kind of project, people usually follow along, you know what I mean, like make it as you go. So I don't want you to have to wait until the very end, especially because this may be a little bit longer of a tutorial. So page 2, we got our 8x8. This one's going to be very straightforward. We're just going to have 2 flaps, a left one and a right one. And the reason being is that the way we're going to put them on is that they're going to overlap. I'm trying to decide whether I want them to overlap this way or that way. It doesn't matter in how we glue them on, you know, the difference that it makes. But I think I kind of like the left one over the right. Okay, an executive decision has been made. So the first thing we want to do is we want to cut our 2 flaps. And remember, if you don't have to worry about writing the measurements down, all the measurements are in the PDF. So, all right, so they're actually just 6 by 6.5 because we need our half score line so that we have somehow to glue it on. Okay. So you're going to cut them 6 by 6.5. Then you're going to get your scoreboard out. And you're going to score it the 1/2 on your longer side, your 6.5. Okay. So you're going to score it here. I've done such a good job folding it, I can't unfold it. Anyway, you're going to score it at the 6-inch mark, so that gives you your 1/2. Then you're going to go in, and I've discovered, and I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but as soon as you crease it, if you go ahead and trim the corners on the flat part, then, and that's flap part, not flat part, then you will remember to do it. If you wait until you're getting ready to glue it on and then go, oh, I need to trim that, in my particular case anyway, then I tend to forget it. So that being said, so we're going to do 2 of those. So you're going to have 2 6-inch flaps. Like I said, it's going to be easy. And we're going to need 4 magnets. Let me get my magnets out. 1 to hold each flap down. And actually, we could get away with 2 magnets and just hold it down in the center and put the magnet on the back of this one. We could probably do that. We could put a magnet in the center of the page. I think that would work. I don't know. I kind of feel safer putting a magnet here to hold this one and a magnet here to hold that one. Oh, it won't. Actually, that's going to be a bad idea because we're going to put pockets on the back of these. So we're definitely going to need to put magnets in the middle to hold them down. actually, let's glue them on and then we'll take a look at it, because we want to hold the flaps down, but my genius idea of putting a pocket along the inside, which is what these are for, we're going to put a pocket on the inside here, then that would still work as long as the magnets were below where the overlap is. Okay, all right, so that'll work. So we are going to need 4 magnets. Let's do 4. Okay, so what we're going to do, actually the easiest way to do the magnets, now that I think about it, I know this is a little scattered, but I'm kind of trying to wing it a little bit so that you guys don't think I write every single thing down. I wrote every single thing down, but I just kind of changed my mind. The easiest way for me, if I'm going to have a flat and I don't really know where on the base I'm going to want to put the magnet, just put the flat, lay the flap where it's going to be. Okay, put your, so that I know this is going to be here. Put your finger on the flap and then slide the flap out. And then that's where you're going to want your magnet. I know. And then do the same with this one. Now remember, you might want to put this one on here because this one's going to go over the top of that one. Because that way it makes like a little pattern, and I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but by making them 6 by 6, then that gives you a 2 by 2 square in each corner. Gotta love it. Okay, so now on this one, you're going to need your magnet to be kind of over in here, because you want it to hold the flap shut, but you also want to have enough room for that pocket that's going to be, underneath on the underside of the right flap. So let's put it here. There's going to be a pocket on the underside of here too. It'll be good. It'll be fine. So we'll just move our finger that way. Hold your finger there. Move this out of the way here. And then you'll see that your magnet here. And they're, well, you know, if we just put them diagonal to each other, then that should be fine. You would think, right? Ah, my finger was right. There you go. Okay, so let's glue the flaps on. Now that we went in that roundabout fashion. Mark the tops, mark them left and right, because you're going to be gluing on the fold. So you want to make sure that you've got it on. See, and I wrote magnet on the back already. I almost picked up my cup of coffee. Maybe I need coffee. Glue wasn't really coming out very well on that side. So this is our left flap. So you want to line it up with the top. All right, I'm going to have to stand up here. You're going to want to line it up with the top, and then also with the left side. Okay, and that is not lined up with the top at all. Okay. Now down the left side. Then open it up and look and see how much glue you smeared around. Yeah, see? Get my famous dry baby wipe. I learned a tip from Miss Paint-A-Lot. Another easy way to see if you've got it lined up is when you open it up, your crease, your score mark will be here and on against the edge there as well. So before it's completely dry, you still have a little bit of swinching around move time. Swinching around move time. Okay, well, I'm just going to go with that term. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. Have I said that already in this video? I say it a lot. If so, you can ding me a point. I'll put $1 in the "That's my story" jar. Okay, top. Okay, I'm going to stand up again. And we'll line it up along the edge and along the bottom. And you can see how by putting that, cutting the edge of that, when you're looking at that little bit of black across the top, then you don't see the line of where you've glued this piece on. Okay, now let's check this real quick. They look fairly square. This one almost looks like it might have scooched just a little bit. If it's just a tiny little bit, then you might be able to push the fold over a little bit. Let me excuse me, I think I will have a swallow of coffee. Thank you for your consideration. Yeah, that's 2. And that's 2. Well, there you go. That's 2. And that's 2. All right. Well, that worked out well. So now let's put our magnets on. I just want to get out 2 magnets. Put the ones on the back first, and then we'll make adjustments on the flaps if we need to. So we're going to need 4. So there's 2. And here's 2 more. Why did that go to that? Is there something on? Oh, it went to the magnet on the other side. Magnet humor. I always wrap them back up and put them back in here so they don't magnetize things that they're setting next to. That padding makes it really hard for the magnetic quality of the magnets to magnetize paper clips and things like that if they're sitting next to them. My tape dispenser's really old and it works perfect, except I think the little tear blade is finally, after 20 years, getting a little dull. But I'm a little dull too, so there you go. Do you guys want to see what I'm reaching for? It's this old Scotch dispenser, and the best part is I've lost the little piece in there, so there's a paper clip across there holding the tape in. So, in case you were wondering, will that work? Give it a whirl. You never know. It might work. Saved me a whole $8 from buying a new one with sand in the base. Probably could get a smaller one now, actually. You know, they make them smaller. Okay, so we're going to put this over Make sure that looks about right. Yep. That one looks a little close to the edge of that one. I think I'm going to move it over just a little bit towards the center. Not enough to move where we want it to grab, but just enough so we have a little more room. Yeah, a little more room towards the edge. So let's make sure this is still going to be okay. Looks like it. Yeah, because there's not going to be a pocket in that part. There's going to be a pocket on this part, but I wonder, what do you guys think? Should we put the magnet up here so it doesn't have to go through any pockets? That would hold it closed. I just don't want the bottom to pop out. Well, it won't because there's a magnet holding this shut. Yes, it will. Okay, we're going to go with the original plan. So then, as you know from previous videos, you know, the Terry's Playing with Magnets videos. Just take another piece of Scotch tape or double-sided tape. Put it with the sticky side up. And we could play this comedy for all day. Stick the magnet down. It helps hold the tape so you can get it off your finger. Close the flap over. Swinch it around so the tape can grab. And then you can open it up. And your magnet is now stuck to the opposite side. And when your paper covers it, everything will be good and dandy. Try not to have any creases in your tape. Like that little corner piece right there where I pulled it up. There we go. Well, if it'll cover the thickness of a magnet, it'll cover that. Okay, now we want to do the same on this one. Sticky side up. Magnet to the side that's going to connect and not the opposite side. That's why it was moving around. I'm going to flip this one over. No, that's still a little close to the edge for me. You know, for papering it, because we leave that little bit. I think I'm going to move it over just a smidge more. Rather worry about it now than be regretting it when I try to paper it later. And especially if that's going to happen. If my hands look purple to you, it's because they are. Yeah, that's better. Okay. The only concern that I had is that there's going to be paper over this, and there's going to be a pocket over that, and paper over that. Well, that's fine as long as we don't put paper all the way down and then the pocket and then paper it. So if we just make our paper go down inside the pocket just a little bit, then we won't have the extra. Now, I'm not putting any kind of gusset or anything on these pockets. They're just going to be to slide a photo in anyway. And that way we don't have to worry about any bulk when we close it. So I know it's extremely hard for you to see, but I'm just taking this rectangular piece, which is 6 inches by 3 inches. I'm just going to glue it on there, just like you would a pocket on any other. Project. And I'm not sure why I labeled them left and right. They're identical. In another tutorial, I used my very nifty ceramic blade paper cutter on my glass cutting mat. However, ceramic blade will cut glass. So, just so you know, do not use your ceramic bladed cutter, even though they're really cool, to cut on your glass mat. It looks like, well, I know it's in there somewhere. Oh, seriously? Now I really want to find it. Oh, I know. It's not in there. I put it up with my sharps so I didn't accidentally use it. On this anyway. Not this project, but this mat. It's really funny that it's cutting mat, but they didn't take into account ceramic. Okay. So we're just going to glue this on 3 sides and then we'll be done with the construction. I'll put it down on pause and we'll get some papers out. Decide what we're going to do. The only thing we have to worry about is putting things in and out of the pocket, catching on the magnet. Didn't really think about that, did I? Well, I guess we'll just have to hope that our photo enterer and exiter does not get too aggressive. Plus, we put tape. So the tape actually goes all the way around and makes a rounded dome over the magnet. So that's actually better than having just glued it in, because then you would have the edge for it to hit. So that's it. So we've got like that. And then the main thing that's going to happen, actually could have glued that a little farther over. That's all right. When we get paper on it. Oh, that's what it is. They're just not quite that heavy because they don't have paper on them yet. So we're gonna, when we do our papers, we're going to try and coordinate so that we have something of interest to look at in these 2 corners. Okay? So that's it for this section, and I'm going to put you on hold and get the papers together, and then we'll be back in part B of video 3, and that's when we'll do the papers. All right, I'll see you then. Okay, we are back. You may have noticed I've made a couple of extra notes. I wanted to remind myself that this is going to be the top flap and this is going to be the bottom flap. I love my pastel white chalk pencil. Also, I made a note to myself that that's the left, and this is the right, and that this is the top, and this is the top. And then, of course, this is just the back, but we've marked the top. In fact, I'm going to mark the top just a little bit higher. Okay, so now this is what I'm thinking for the papers, because that's what we're going to do this time. Oh, on a side note, I realized that the paper that we put here is going to need to slide down behind the pocket a little bit. So I was able to go back and carefully remove the paper, the pocket paper, from the from the back by just a little bit, and I'm going to slide the paper in, and then when we glue it down, since it's not going to go all the way to the edge, remember it's going to be back just a little bit, then I should be able to glue the pocket back on if I do it carefully, and then you won't see the paper on the edges. Okay, this is my plan. Like I always say, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So now, here's what I'm thinking about for the papers. Remember, we're going by our fairy tale, and on this one, it's going to be There's a Beautiful Princess. So here's some papers from the kit, or the pad, that I'm looking at for this section. Yes, that's a lot of pages. We're going to have scraps to save. Let me emphasize that, to save. All right, so this is a last resort, so I'm going to set it to the side, and the reason is because this is what's going to have to go on the front two flaps. So neither one of these is glittery. You know, none of this is glittery. So this is going to go on the inside of the flap, on either side facing, and the crown's facing in. We're going to lose this There Lived a Handsome Prince. We're probably going to lose There Lived a Beautiful Princess. This is going to not be cut in half or anything, but what's going to happen is that it's 11 inches wide, and to cut it in the center at 5.5 would cut off the word beautiful. I may be able to cut out the words There Lived a, and then Beautiful Princess, and use that across the back on the bottom. I don't know what it would look like. I'm not sure that I would be happy with it. If we're going to lose There Lived a Handsome Prince, at least this one, it would be easier to cut it like right after the word a, and then There Lived a Prince. So we might be able to do that on the princess page, and I realize that this is the princess crowns, but we need some kind of crown, so you realize that the hair belongs to the princess. Now, the reason we're going to cut off this half of the page, it matches the castle page. So this is the second and only one we have of this. The reason we're going to use it is because it tells the story. So it says, once upon a time there lived a king, blah, blah, blah. Near the king's palace was a large dark forest, and the princess used to go in the forest and sit by the well and play. Da, 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 da. Her ball fell in the well, and then she started to cry, and the frog came up and said, blah, blah, blah. So, once upon a time there lived a king starts right here. So I made a little mark, and it just so happens that we can fit this on the left front and this on the right front. It's a 12-inch piece of paper, and our flaps are 6 inches wide. So let me turn off that alarm. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, we were talking about this page right here. What we're going to do is we're going to cut it in half, and we're lucky we have this half still because we've used this part. Actually, I don't, but that's okay. We'll cut it in half, and then the story starts here, and we can use this green part to fill out the rest of the 6 inches, because we're going to put one on each flap. I actually got distracted for about a half an hour, so I want to make sure I apologize if I'm repeating anything. And then the story, then she began to cry bitterly, fits exactly, because as you can see, the text starts equally across here. So we're going to go ahead and do that, since I know for sure that's what we're going to do. Okay, so these are going to be 6 by 6 squares. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it in half. Well, isn't that just silly? Okay, I did make a mark, and it is at 6 inches. That was pretty good pretty good eyeballing on my part. Let me go down here. I'm going to go over this way just a smidge. It's just on the inside of the line, so that's pretty good on my part still. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get our pages back out. This is the top flap, so it's going to have the first part, which is Once Upon a Time there lived a king. And now remember, we're leaving a little bitty black area around, and you can see that's too high up, so we're going to bring it down just a little bit. We want to make sure we have enough room for the top one. Maybe we should do the top one first, which is the second part of the story. I know that sounds confusing, but let's do this part first. Let's see. Yeah, I think if we just cut it right below the P, then we'll be all right. And then see, that gives us a little bit at the top, because here's my mark for the Once Upon a Time. So let's do that. So that looks like that should be fine. In fact, it's just a smidge wide, so we can take just a smidge off of this side. So let's turn it upside down. It's 6 by 6. So it doesn't matter. So let's make it just the right height there. You know, actually, now that I look at it, oh, it's wide this way. So let's move it in a smidge. I know it's hard to see the black. Let's make sure it's straight on the other 3 sides. We'll just make a mark a little bit in from the edge. And we'll cut that. Which is silly to do it that way. I'm going to go right down the middle of my line. Make sure everything's straight. Take double extra care, huh, when you when you have one to work with. Of course, we're going to set this to the side. My scrap thing is too far away. Okay, so then this one will fit here. Now I'm not going to glue it on yet. I'm going to paper clip it. And the reason is, not that I don't have total faith in myself. I'm going to paper clip it down here. Or why should I paper clip it at all? I'll just set it over there because we know it's right. But let's make sure that we got this one right before we get too excited. Okay. So now we're going to take a little bit off of this outside edge and a little bit off the bottom. So move that in so I can see. So we're going to mark this just a little bit up. And we're going to mark this. Wow, that's really not very much at all. We're going to mark this one right there. So we're going to cut them off. I almost stuck my pencil in my mouth again, and then it's hard for me to talk, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Depends on your point of view and probably how many of my videos you've seen. Okay, straight across. Keep that little bitty scrap. I know it's small, but keep it anyway. We're going to do the same with this side little bitty scrap too. I'm just telling you ahead of time. You never know when you might want to use that little bitty teeny bit of color. Okay. Let's make sure this fits on here. Once upon a time there lived a king. Then she began to cry bitterly. Okay, that works for me. I realize there's nothing glitzy on the front, but that's okay. Okay with me. Every single page doesn't have to be glitzy. Plus, we're putting crowns on the back side of here. Now, I'm not sure what we're going to put on there. Probably offcuts from the princess's hair page. That's what I'm calling it. Now, before I get all carried away, this is the top. Let me erase that little mark next to the O. Mark the top on this one before I even get that far. Let me do this real quick. I forgot to start it when we started, and I don't want to go longer than 30 minutes at a time recording, just because I'm having trouble, like I said, copying from my old laptop, which is what I'm using just for recording, onto my little card. I don't know why I'm having trouble, but I am. So I'm working around it. Because it'll seem like a pause to you, but it'll be a stop and a start for me. You know, a second for you and a day for me. I mean, it could be. You don't know. All right, that's the top. This is the top. Let's make sure that's the top. Okay. So let's put this on here. Slide it that way a little bit. Okay. Could have left that a skosh bigger. Top to bottom. Okay. We'll put this one on this side. Kind of seems like the princess being young enough to play by a creek with a ball and bouncing it into a well. Be a little young for a prince. Apparently, back in the olden days, don't even get me started. Okay, so now we have once upon a time there lived a king, blah, 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 blah. Then she began to cry bitterly, and nothing would comfort her. Now we need to decide, what are we going to do in here? I know what I'm going to do back here. I'm wondering if we should do it so we can see what the rest of it is going to look like. It's going to be really hard to make a mark on that glittery glitter. If I just go ahead and cut this off, let me see how hard it's going to be to make a pencil mark. Oh, not near as hard as I thought, that's for sure. I think I'm going to move it up just a smidge. Could you hear me whisper that? Didn't want the paper to hear me. Well, the line. Okay. We are back from our unscheduled break, and I stood up and I yanked the mic cord out, and instead of being able to just plug it in and keep going, you know, plug it back in and keep going, I actually have to stop the video and then start again. So that was our unscheduled commercial break. I hope you went to the restroom while you had the chance. All right, so let's cut this. And we're going to cut it right here. It's going to work out pretty well with her hair, isn't it? Okay. Now let's do the width. Which, no, I hadn't marked it yet. And so, see, we do still have There Lived a Beautiful Princess. The only thing, like I said, is that they know somebody's not going to have an 11.5-inch wide. Or I guess you could make a 12 by 12 book. But the odds of that are pretty slim. And so they could have put, There Lived a Beautiful Princess. And then we could have used it. You know, they know most people are going to do it. Anyway, don't get me started. I'm already started. I'm sorry. I've already started without you. Actually, I literally started with you. You had no choice. You were hostages. I love that. I love having hostages. Everybody should have a hostage every now and then, I think, maybe. But I digress. Okay, so we're going to make a little mark here where we want to cut it. And I think we're going to be able to use, we're going to definitely be able to use this, and I'm not sure where. I was hoping we would have enough to put it on the pockets, but there's not going to be enough because everything is 6 inches wide. Okay, so now hopefully this will be 8 inches across. I just want to double check. Let's turn it this way. Okay, there's my mark. Wow, that's quite a bit short of 8. Oh, okay, well that's fine. All right, let's go there. We've got that little bit on either side. So 3/16, I can live with that. And the mark is just on the other side of my pencil mark. So I'm going to go for that. And then I'm going to check it because we can always take a little extra off. And I think it's a good thing I double checked. And cut right inside the pencil mark. Okay. I'm gonna have to be careful. It's hard for me to see this black when I'm not standing up, and when I stand up I keep stepping on my mic cord, and then you see the top of my head, and then you know when I'm supposed to color my hair. Well, you know what? That is about a 1/16 too wide. So we want to cut it off on this side. Let's make sure, because we've got an up and down. So, oh, on the spot where my mark is. On your mark. In fact, guess what, folks? Right on my mark. Okay. Keeping track of my mic cord now very carefully. Otherwise, I'm going to have 4 sections of this video to hook up together. Okay, let's triple check. I think that's pretty. It's really hard to see on the glitter too. Okay. Could have used this one to be a little bit longer too. I'm not really sure. Alright, let's mark that top. What if we did it this way? Maybe I cut the long side. I mean, it wouldn't really matter where her hair came from. I mean, how could that possibly... Well, one side could be off by just a little bit. Unbelievable. I mean, it isn't... Oops. Well, I'm going to tell you folks right now, having it come down from the top corner or go up from the bottom is exactly the same side. So apparently, it's just the way I'm looking at it. Okay. Yes, my pencil is in my mouth. Forgot to restart it again. I have a big thing on my notes that says timer, but I decided I knew at least this much, that I didn't really need to look at my notes, which we all know is usually disaster. But we already remembered the magnets. Everything's labeled top and bottom. How much trouble could I get into? Oh, we all know. Okay. All right. Top. Okay, here we go. I'm going to stand up again. Let's try not to pull the mic. I know part of this is off camera. I apologize. You know, we almost could. If we could cut it out and make it look nice, maybe we could make a piece of black paper that goes like this and get away with cutting "There lived a beautiful princess." Let's see what we got here. Do you know what I mean? Because we would have gold on either side. And if we bordered it on black and cut it across below this mark, well, that can become, we can come back and do that. Because it sure would be pretty. It's too bad. It's really too bad that it can't be just put right across the bottom, because that would really, you know, tie off the whole thing. Now we need to decide. I think we decided that we were going to use this here I'm almost tempted to take the pockets off and put them back on top, which would be a waste of the paper. That's silly. Or to take the pockets off. I really like the idea of having the pockets. We could cut them back smaller and make them tuck spots. And that would give a bigger area to have to put a photo on. Well, let's see. If we put, well, what if we put this and then this on the pocket? One on this side. Oh, we couldn't. Well, we could. One on this side, one on that side, with the braid on the outside. I just think that would be too much next to her hair. I think something less, you know, this pattern is too busy, and most of the other patterns are paisley type patterns. Let's take a look real quick. I don't know if I warned you or not, but the videos for doing these types of projects tend to run a little long. We're going to use this one later. Yeah, see all the I mean, this one is the one that goes with the hair one. But the purpose of, for the purpose of what we're doing, oops. Yeah, is that right? Yeah. I'm not sure. I think maybe, so there's not glitter against glitter, I think we will use this paper for in here, because we could take a corner. Do we want to use these here if we're going to have the crowns there, though? Yes, I think I do. No, I don't, and I'll tell you why. Because we have to tuck it up under there a little bit. So, wow. All right. Sacrifices have to be made. and cut it right. Well, instead of that, let's cut it evenly from top to bottom where we're cutting through the center, so that way we've got two matching pieces to use as borders that are approximately the same size. So let's do this and this, and then we can use one side and the other side. We'll have enough room, you know what I mean? We'll have enough to do these two small areas and still have a whole big section. My foot just keeps wrapping around this cord. I left my glue uncovered. You know, now that we're now about to use it, I'm going to put the pin back in. Just want to make sure this is straight. I don't want to ruin one half of it. Okay, do not laugh. I've had this for almost a year and I realized I could just use these cross lines to line up the paper. Okay, this is not really directional. I do like it this way though. So let's push that under there a little bit. That worked out pretty well for the center, didn't it? I don't know how I managed that because I wasn't measuring for that. I was measuring for the edges of the points that were on there, and then evenly in from each side. It just kind of bumfuzzles my brain. I know what the problem is. I never raised my stool back up. Yeah. Now I'm about 4 inches taller. Now let's see if I can find my mark. Oh, it's on the other end. I have the feeling I'm going to cut this crooked. Oh, I could just make that the corner I slide down inside the pocket now, couldn't I? Oh, except, yeah. Just got caught on the edge. I thought I had enough. out of the way. Okay. Yep, that's going to fit in there nicely, except I didn't measure the width, did I? Yes, I did. Okay. Okay. And go ahead and glue that in. And then I'll let it dry, and then I'll glue the pockets back shut. And then, because of my crazy computer, I'm going to have to put you on pause, or I'm going to have to stop it and then start again, which won't be anything to you but a pause. It's not like this is going to carry over into another video. I'm glad we're putting the crowns on the pocket, because otherwise that would just be too dull. Okay. All right, I'm going to go on break and we'll be right back. Okay, I don't know why my camera is not clicking to tell me that it's back on. That's weird, because it used to do that, and now I'm worried. So anyway, all right, now all we have to do is this side. It's too bad we don't have something with a frog on it, huh? That would have been nice. We already know the width, yeah, but I just want to make sure that it's straight before I cut the length. I left the glue lid off again. I put enough of it under the pocket that we have plenty of playroom as far as, you know, moving it backwards and forwards. And it's not, it is directional, and I put the flowers upside down. I'll be darned. Oh no, there's flowers that go both ways, but not on this piece. It's not big enough for you to see the flowers going both ways. So let's not take a chance, and let's mark this top. That way it doesn't look like we put it in upside down. That one just happened to have both, so you can see that the flowers go both ways. I thought I was going to have to yank that out and turn it around. Okay, top. You know, that probably would be a material of a dress she would wear. Now, to do this with the least amount of waste, I think we will cut across here. It's going to be just a little bit less than 6 inches. Okay. Now we're going to have to cut both from right here, because otherwise we're going to have this braid. Apparently that glue wants to spend more time on its side than it does up and down. So we're going to cut this, and then we're going to take it straight over here. We're going to flip it around so the crowns face out on that side. Okay. So we want it there. We want it there. So I'm going to cut it across this way first. Let me look at that again. Right. Cut it this way first. That will give us that rectangle. Save that with the braid. Oh, these don't match. Oh well. Okay, now we want to put this one this way. Okay, I was just double checking my mark. Okay, that one's going to go there. That's going to be the top. This one's going to go here. So let's mark this the top. And it should almost fit perfectly. Almost. They're starting the construction outside. They're digging up the road to put in new sewer. So they keep closing the road, and I live in an apartment complex, and there's only 3 entrances, and they're all on the same road. You know, the one they keep closing. I'm being held hostage. No, I know they can't do that, but they close one way at a time. And so either way, you have to drive all the way around just to get to the UPS. Which is only 3 blocks away, I might add. Okay, so now we're just gonna glue this on here. Or they could even be the curtains. Maybe she's looking out the window like Rapunzel with her hair. And these are the curtains on either side. The wind's blowing her hair. Her long golden locks, as they would say in one of these books. I have little strings coming off of this everywhere. Oh no, that's the scratch from my ceramic blade when I decided to be such a smarty pants and use my ceramic cutter on the glass. You know, the cutting mat. Who'd have thunk? If I'd have realized, if I'd have thought about it, I would have realized. But I didn't. And then it was too late. Okay, let's glue this one on here. And then we'll be done with this page. This is the top, which makes sure the crowns are facing the right way. Get this all lined up here. And drop that puppy down. We shouldn't have to move it very much. Okay. So there we go. So let's see what we've got. Once upon a time, there was a king that lived. There lived a king whose daughters were all beautiful, but the youngest was so lovely that even the sun that had looked upon many things could not but marvel when it shone upon her face. Isn't that beautiful? Then she began to cry, because she's a big crybaby when she drops her little ball. Anyway, and then she began to cry, blah, blah, blah. Story continues right on, and then it ends. Right where it ends on the paper, there is no more story. And then you open it like this, and you open it like this, and then you've got her hair right there like that. So, I hope you like the way this one turned out. I like it. I like it a lot. I think it turned out great. And so that's the end of this very long video. And it will be just a second for you, but a day for me when the next section comes along. All right, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.